got the title Asaasaa from, I think it was an inspiration. I was looking for a name for my production. Now, I had different names. I wanted to encapsulate the whole production into one title. Now, I don't have a central theme for my work because there are bits and pieces of different themes put together. So I started exploring. I had is it hodudu, which means dances in Ewe. I tried some northern names, and then one day I have this African print shorts I wear. So I was on my way to the department. I got there and someone was like, "Oh, I like your shorts." I looked at the shorts again. I'm like, "This is it. It's different pieces of cloth, different ones, different patches put together, sewn into one nice cloth, one nice fabric." And then I had my shorts. I'm like, this is what I want. This is Asaasaa. So Asaasaa or Nsasaawa or Asaasaaba, the others call it Sansa. You know, it's just bits and pieces of everything, like things you've used. Some women in the market say is the number of clothes they've worn in a month. The very expensive ones, they put the patches together, and then you can know that, oh, this is what I've worn in the whole month. So like they call their bluff. It fitted perfectly into what I wanted. So I just picked the name up. I did a little research about it with the theater arts department, and I owned the name Asaasaa. Alright, so today's the last day, the final performance, and I mean, we're all spent up. Let's go. We're gonna break a leg. Yeah, see you. Me too. Now, if you look at the repertoire, the dances I have there, the first dance I have is I have a French name for it called Sans Souffle, None But You. So it's just myself in a frenzy in my house with my friends who have come over, but you know, there's this emptiness there, like I miss someone. I'm having fun, but then my mind keeps going back to the same person. So they leave, and then I'm left alone, and I remember what that person used to be. I wish that person was with me. So that has a French name. My second piece, I call the prayer. Now the prayer is one piece that I put my heart and soul into it. The music choices had been long picked because I worked at a summer camp during the vacation, and we had choreographies with kids, and I'll play music and I'll see how they react to it. Now they reacted to these songs very well. Buju Banton's Psalm 23 and Almok's Summer Prayer. I put the two together and I'm like, okay, let me see what they have in common. They are all talking about prayer. So the choreography was strong. It's supposed to be very intimate. It's just you and your soul and your God, you know. So I just want the audience to feel that closeness, to feel the dragging and the moving. You know, you need something, you know. Then I went ahead to create a piece called Asaasaa, and that is the traditional piece. I did this production the first semester because next semester we have another production. It's a staff production. Most of the time, staff productions take too much of our time. I remember the last staff production we had was somewhere 2013. It was in Kume's Vision for One Africa. And it took us about 3 months to realize that production. We're having rehearsals like morning and evening. It's like that in the performing arts, so it's a discipline. So I just feared that next semester I might not have what I want or what I need to put my pieces together. Because the lecturer would have to use the students, I also have to use the students. Now, I almost staged this production in February, but then hard work pays. Like I said, my supervisor is not someone who say no to anything. I mean, we thought about the prospects of doing it next semester and we're like, okay, fine. we just have to work harder. And he's been like there. He's been there. So I mean, I never had a choice to say no. I'm a workaholic myself. If I'm not sleeping, no one is sleeping. That's how I am. And if I sleep, yes, then I get to sleep. So I've been very difficult on my people, but they understand, and that's the discipline in the performing arts. I think that we have to start making up our minds to know how to achieve things. Your circles tell how well you're going to survive it, or how well you're going to do in the future. I think I have positive people around me, so I know how to manage my time. I know how to do a lot of things. I do a lot of things, and I'm always a busybody, but I prefer it that way. That was picked from different dance forms amongst the Ghana, the Fanti, and the Ebe. So creating that piece was very interesting because it was one of our Sunday meetings. I'm like, oh, let's create an Ebe piece. We finished the first part and we liked it, so we're like, okay, let's keep it. I feel like sometimes as an artist you feel like you want to create. There are certain days that you just get up and you are in this hype. You feel like, okay, today I feel artistic, or I'm listening to this music and there's so much running through my mind. So I have that piece called Asaasaa, and then I have the last piece, and the last piece is Konongo Kaya, and as in Chi, it means that it's just like crabs in the pan. When one crab tries to get out of the pan, the rest keep pulling them down. So we have this pull him down syndrome thing, And I was talking to my supervisor, and we were thinking about a name for it. We tried some Ghanaian names. We wanted to use some phrases, and then I asked a good friend of mine, and I said, how do you encapsulate this into 2 words or a word? And he just said, well, can we use Konongo Kaya? So okay, I like it. So I talked to my supervisor, and then we chose the name.
I have always believed every piece is judged by its merit, and so seeing it, having the opportunity to witness it, I think that it's a good piece. And like I always say, there's always a room for improvement, and anytime he has a chance to work on it, I'm sure it will become better than it was. But in general, I think it was a good piece and a good performance. I think the cast and the crew has all showed up, but still, like I say, there's still more room for improvement.
We've known Jason always to be very strong and very expressive, but even just in terms of the length and the size of the piece, I think this is more even than we've already know he can do. Because if you think just at the everything that went into this production, So whilst I always thought Jason is very strong in what he can do, and I mean not only his strength as a performer, as a dancer itself, but also in terms of the choreographies I've seen. So I can see improvement.
And the last piece is Freedom. The last dance was Freedom, and it's a free-spirited dance. It's running around, exploring space. It has this upbeat thing. I like the music. It was used during the World Cup, but there's something, it's just the African drums. It's just the stamping, the hits, the beats, everything there. So, we created something out of it, and then, the whole thing fell into place. I think my supervisor has been a big part of the success of this production, because he just comes, he looks at the piece and is like, okay, I like it. If there's something wrong, he'll tell you. But from day one, I mean, we've had very positive energy throughout. Those who sacrifice to come, I don't know, but sometimes I send them personal message. I'm like, thank you very much, because it has not been easy. It has not been easy. But if you have a vision and you have people who help you to realize that vision, you are able to progress. Yes.
I was in charge of the sound. I helped Jason to mix the tracks together. He provided most of the tracks actually. I just made the mashups, the right cues and stuff. We just put everything together and it was on point.
When we started doing this piece, of course we had problems here and there. But with the passage of time, we realized that if we actually become one, if we bring together all our ideas, then obviously and certainly this thing would come out to be so beautiful.
Asaasaa, I think, was a very inspiring and a beautiful dance choreography.
I'm so proud to be a part of it.
It was one of a kind, and dance choreography is going to serve as an inspiring piece for those coming up. That's a level 100, 200, and 300 to come up with something nice, something creative in choreography. That's if they want to take it up.
I think for the first time, things had to go the way they went. If you ask me, because it's very difficult to set standards or to set a train for people to follow. But then the first time you make your mistakes and then you are able to give a curriculum, you're able to get set rules and set regulations on how things should go. So I think I would say I have tried and to put something there. Probably the next time or the next person to choreograph a piece would have a fair idea of what goes into it. I've seen a few people who have done choreographic works. I love Travis. He's one of my favorite choreographers. So I've followed a trend and picking my theme and picking my ideas for this particular production was a bit challenging. I did not have anything in mind at first. I believe in creating and then after that looking at your work, criticizing your work and then getting meaning from it. So I don't go more into dance drama. I like to do theater. So the style is theatrical. You know, a bit of poetry, a bit of dance.
Went well. In that the show went well. You see, we would like to congratulate the people from the department of Monica.